from you, and then we will move on to questions.
Yeah, congrats to Texas. Their guys showed up, wanted to win the game, as did ours, and they were able to get the job done today. More importantly for me, thank you to Vol fans. The Vol Walk on Football Saturday is pretty impressive. It's a tradition that's gone on for a long time. But these kids somehow inspired the Vol Walk for baseball to be created, and it's a pretty incredible sight and emotional thing. So thank you to those people, but also the people that just helped boost up our program into being an Omaha-type program. We hope to be that for multiple years, not just this year. So can't make any promises, but obviously we'd like to do better next time. But don't want our kids to have any sort of guilt. They're good kids. You got a guy apologizing, and I'm apologizing to them, and I think that's what makes a good team, is when you got each other's back and you want to see the guy next to you succeed more than you want it for yourself. And disappointing day, probably a lot of social media stuff can make these guys seem like they kind of want to be the bad boys. But there's just a bunch of kids that want to win for each other. And some guys that off the field, you take that jersey off, they're pretty soft and they're pretty good kids. But when they throw it on, they do everything they can to win for Tennessee and to win for each other. And I'm honored to have been around them for 50 wins and obviously one loss too many. Thank you.
We'll move to questions now. Mike Wilson.
Yeah, Tony, when you were standing out there in the outfield, just kind of distant from your team, all huddling together, what was going through your mind, and how do you keep a season like this in perspective with what you did versus how it ended?
I think it's hard because no disrespect to the opponent, just didn't envision it today. And even in the ninth inning, maybe you get 2 outs and nobody's on. You start thinking, what do I say to the guys or anything like that? But nothing's packed. I can tell you that. I got no idea how much longer we'll stay here, but feel unprepared. Kind of like our 2 games. We didn't play that great, even though a lot of preparation time was put in. If the results don't go well, you have to look at yourself as a coach and wish you made different decisions because the ones you made didn't work. But you get to that point, I really didn't have anything intelligent to say to the guys. I just, the old cliche, man, you go to a place, you'd like to leave it better than you found it. And holy cow, did these kids do that. So I was just out there looking after them, wanting to be able to do something to help. But at that point, they just wanted to share some time with one another. And, I mentioned to them in the locker room there that we need to do something else to get together as a group rather than just kind of slamming the door shut on this thing, whether it's honoring the fans or the team or just getting together for a meal and being together one more time.
Wes Rucker.
Yeah, Tony, was anything about, I know emotion has fed y'all as a team so many times this season in a positive way. Did any of that create any negative things today? Or were those 2 separate things, the execution not being great and then some of the emotion?
No, I don't think so. I think it's either there or it's not. And I there's no way I can count on one hand total or how many digits you got. 2-3 times the guys didn't show up with kind of their attitude or their behavior. Certainly there was fluctuation in skill and performance, but they just found a way for almost 70 games, however many it was, to show up and play Vol baseball, if that's what you want to call it. And we didn't do that game 1 here in Omaha for whatever reason. We sat and talked forever. It just wasn't there. So the goal today, obviously, is to win the game, but, we kind of put the scoreboard in our back pocket and just wanted to make sure the guys showed up with, the attitude that we're used to, and they did that. And so that's why the emotion was high and the way things were. And I think, you get deflated in certain situations, but I didn't see anything that, was like, a big weight on our shoulders holding us down, for lack of a better phrase.
Ryan Shumpert.
From your vantage point, just what did you see on the plate in the 4th inning? And did you feel like that kind of took some juice out of your team or anything like that?
Well, I thought it was a really clean relay. Jordan Beck, got over there in a hurry, got it to our infielders. They make a clean throw. Pav makes a clean tag. So you kind of anticipated the thing being an out. Unfortunately, we've got replay in the dugout, and I think you're better off as team or coaches not seeing that stuff when they throw it up on the scoreboard or in the corner. But obviously, it's one more run. I don't have a scale to weigh, how much of a punch in the gut that was to our guys or how much of a detriment that was other than just what was on the scoreboard. But 5-4 is different than 6-4.
Trey Wallace.
Hey, Tony, just kind of looking at where you guys stood all season long and coming into this, how did you think, two questions, how did you think your batters were looking at pitches coming into today and getting through the Texas game? And then also, when you kind of look back at your time this season with Tennessee, what are you going to remember the most about being around these kids?
Sure. I think with the hitters, the thing they did different today was kind of stay to the baseball a little bit more. I don't know that you'd call it staying within yourself from my vantage point. But guys got off cleaner swings. They were more sure of themselves in their takes. And really, again, I think they just got back to being themselves. It obviously wasn't good enough, but it wasn't anything, on the superstar side, but it also wasn't where you saw guys, doing things on certain pitches that you would question. So, and then, as far as what I would remember with these guys, that's a tough thing to point out, one deal. Other than as a coach, you're always trying to learn. And I learned a ton from the group on just how to get things done, how to act, how to respond in certain situations. And then, there's a meme for all the people that don't like us that can, they can't see any tears yet, but was locked up in that condo for a long time, man. Long time. And then we had to watch these guys hit BP on the field by themselves, play catch, couldn't do anything. And then you got to be around them for a whole year. And it was a pleasure cruise. As much as you get angry at certain things or you got to go to COVID testing and stuff like that, it was a good time. It was a really good time to be around those guys. And they created something. So you get handed the baton, you run with it. That's one thing, and kudos to all those people that have done that. But these kids literally invented things, and they did it in a really fun fashion. So.
Troy Provost Heron.
Hey, Tony. Just want to go back to that fourth inning, and you mentioned the perception about you guys being the bad boys and whatnot. When Ross gets tossed there, are you at all surprised that the guys didn't respond to that as well, and kind of all the bad luck and whatever happened after that moment?
Yeah, I mean, just because a guy gets thrown out, it doesn't mean the next guy's going to hit a home run. I think Ross acted like he did all year long. So, and a couple of those guys know him from his playing days. So, maybe that's kind of a thing. But the guy was brought on to give us a brand name. So, from my vantage point from prior to, I certainly appreciate the work that was put into the program before we got here. But in my opinion, there needed to be a little more spice. And that's why that guy was added. And I think he brings that every day. So in that particular situation, the eyes were on him, and he was frustrated. We brought in a guy to hit the mitt, and I think Ross felt like he was hitting the mitt. And so if anything, standing up for his guy and also ensuring that we at least brought some passion to the field today. So whether it went awry or we misbehaved or whatever it might be, no one's getting on that bus going back to the hotel saying, we didn't show up or we weren't into it or we didn't have any fight to us.
We'll go 2 more questions. Ben McKee.
Yeah, Tony, just what did you see from Blade and Sean that maybe led to a lack of command there on the mound? And do you think Sean maybe just ran out of juice there towards the end?
I think Blade, was throwing the ball all right. They were on him for whatever reason. I think he was getting frustrated about certain things. And then a third thing was there was just a handful of pitches where he didn't have the conviction that I've seen out of him. in the past few weeks. That was just kind of my read. And we felt good about the fact that it was a start to a new game. And the whole goal was, again, to get somebody out there to hit the mitt. And, I think in both situations, the big thing was we were one pitch away from, getting out of 2 innings that a lot of damage was done. And, we threw it over the plate, which is what got us here. And they were able to put a couple good swings on balls.
Final question, Mike Wilson.
Yeah, Tony, have you had any communication with LSU regarding its vacant coaching position? And do you expect to be the head coach at Tennessee next season?
No, I've not had zero. And, I just made an idiot out of myself, at least for all the masculine folks watching, by getting teary-eyed about these kids. And that's where my focus has been. So, like I said, the social life hasn't been existent for quite some time, well before our opening day game. And a part of that is I want to do as good of a job as I can for the school that gave me a chance. And I want to do as good of a job I can for a group that we thought could go pretty far. And then, the way the season evolved, like I said, the emotions, certainly not fake. I don't know if it's embarrassing or not, but it's coming from a place where that's my number one concern is these guys. And I'll go back to the room, and anyone who knows me, it'll be bad how much I critique myself, and it hurts. So I'm certainly not going to waste energy before a game or any other game having regrets that, my mind wasn't right or we weren't prepared the right way to go into whatever game it might be.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations on a good season.
Thank you all. Take care.
We'll be joined next by Senior Pete Durkay, and we will go straight to questions with Pete. Welcome to the podium, Pete. We're going to go straight to questions. Wes Rucker.
Yeah, Pete, I know that, for whatever reason, Tony said that maybe in the first game y'all didn't play Vol baseball. Do you feel like y'all did that today, even though you didn't win the game?
Yeah, for the most part. There were just a couple situations where we didn't come up with the big hit or big pitch, but felt like throughout the entire day we were fighting and kind of played more our brand of baseball. We just got beat today.
Ben McKee.
Pete, how would you just assess what went wrong this week for you all?
I don't know. Sometimes baseball is a crazy game, and first day we kind of just didn't show up like we were capable of doing, and got exposed a little bit. And then today, they were the better team. They capitalized on a little more situations and made some plays when they really needed to. So I'd say that was about it.
Ryan Shumpert.
So what will be your lasting memories of this season and this team?
I love each and every one of these guys. To think when that season got canceled last year, I thought maybe it was all over. And to just kind of get that, second chance to do it all over again, especially with this group of guys, was just, it was unbelievable. Kind of brings a little tear to my eye. I'm trying to do my best right now. But, it just meant the world to me. And I'll remember the season for the rest of my life. To do something that this program hasn't done in 16 years, to get back here. And ever since I stepped on this campus, I said I wanted to change the culture here. And with Luke, Redmond, and Will, that was just something that was always on our mind. And so I'd say the lasting thing is we did that. And Tennessee baseball is back. And with these coaches and players coming back, I know this place is in a really good spot.
Troy Provost Huron.
Pete, just from your vantage point, what looked like went wrong in that fourth inning for Hundley and and the guys?
I would say just we didn't make a couple pitches in some situations, and they put a good swing on the ball and capitalized on some mistakes. We fell behind in some counts, and sometimes that's just going to happen when a team capitalizes on stuff.
Will Backus?
Oh yeah, Pete. Kind of bouncing off that in that fourth inning. Ross Kavett got ejected, and then you had that review that didn't quite go your way. What was the feeling in the dugout after that, or what was the feeling amongst the players after that sequence of events?
I mean, it was still pretty early in the game, so I wouldn't say it was just kind of like, oh, okay, because one thing Coach Vitello has always told us with these reviews is you can either go one way or the other. So whatever they tell us, if he's out or safe, that's what we got to roll with. So that's what we were kind of going off of at that moment in time, and yeah, that was it.
Trey Wallace?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got caught up right there. When you kind of look back overall from even the postseason when it started to you guys getting to the regional, super regionals, making it to Omaha, I know you've kind of already gotten into this a little bit, but are there certain moments that maybe stand out to you more or less than others that you'll continue to take on?
I mean, that grand slam that Drew hit was still one of the that was the craziest thing I've ever been a part of. I was kind of just sitting there in the dugout next to Redmond, and I think we were both thinking the same thing, that if we got to Drew, like we had a really good shot, but nobody said a word to each other. And we're kind of just sitting there watching it, and it happened, and that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then from then on, it just kind of was just the guys, all our guys were just feeding off each other and just so focused on how can we get to the next thing, and if somebody doesn't get it done, the next guy's going to do it. And from then on, it just felt like the train was rolling, and Drew kind of sparked that with that unbelievable play. But even in the Super Regional, when the skies opened up out of nowhere and Chad's having to pitch where I can't even see him, and then 20 minutes later, it's perfectly fine. But just to see that he wasn't going to call for, the stuff to be like the mound to get fixed and, hey, I can't do this. He's like, I'm going to go after it, even though, like, when the ball goes in the air, you can't really see it. So I'd say those were two of the bigger moments. And just that the feeling of being able to dogpile at Lindsey Nelson was it was unbelievable. And the fact that we got out of it with nobody getting hurt was probably the best thing out of it. But that was a moment that I will never forget.
We'll go one more question. Jake Nichols.
Pete, when you were out in the outfield with the other guys, what's kind of your message to each of the other seniors? And then what's your message to these younger guys now that, they've had a taste of this and had this historic run for you guys going forward?
I mean, first off, I want you to know that I love them from the bottom of my heart. Hasn't always been smooth sailing throughout these 5 years. And without them, I don't know what I would do, especially that group of seniors. I mean, they're some of my best friends, people that will be in my life for many years to come. So just want to say thank you to them and that I love them. But with the younger guys too, it's especially getting to experience this, you want more of it. And when we made it to the regional in 2019 and got eliminated from that, we knew we wanted more. So to get here was great, but if I had one more year, I want more. So for them, it's just keep staying the course with everything and keep putting in the work that got us here this go round. And if they keep doing that, I think Tennessee baseball will be a force to be reckoned with next year, and you could see us back here again.
Thank you, Pete, for your time today. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.